everyone, and welcome to Reviews with Ryan. Today on the channel, I'm going to be talking about Guillermo Del Toro's Pinocchio, now streaming on Netflix. Now, I did review the Pinocchio that was streaming earlier on Disney+, and that was not very good, but how did I feel about this new Pinocchio on Netflix? Well, stick around and find out. A father's wish magically brings a wooden boy to life in Italy, giving him a chance to care for the child. The film stars Ewan McGregor, David Bradley, Gregory Mann, Gorman, Ron Perlman, John Turturro, Finn Wolfhard, Cate Blanchett, Tim Blake Nelson, Christoph Waltz, Tilda Swinton, and Tom Kenny, and many more, and was directed by Guillermo Del Toro. He's done films like Crimson Peak, Pacific Rim, and Hellboy. Do we really need another Pinocchio film? I really just thought this would be a very mediocre film, and, according to the last one on Disney+, it was not very good. So for this one, I just kind of, I really haven't seen like a really good Pinocchio rendition up until this point, so I really didn't have that high of hopes. So what can I really say about this film? So one of my criticisms in Disney Plus was the Geppetto portion and how Geppetto didn't really have a backstory. Well, here in this film, he does have a backstory. He actually has a son named Carlo, and Carlo actually ends up passing away, and Geppetto gets really depressed. He starts drinking, he becomes an alcoholic, and he really has this really depressing kind of outlook. The film, it does have that depressing kind of outlook, especially within the colors in the sky. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Fantastic Mr. Fox with certain colors that they use, but it also had a really dark tone. And I mean it had a dark tone because of how the city actually was. It's kind of dirty, it's kind of trashy, it looks kind of old, and just certain things, how they actually did the characters. Geppetto, he gets really frustrated and he cuts down this tree and he makes Pinocchio. And I really like the design of Pinocchio and how he is. He's actually a really strong-willed character. He doesn't take a lot of crap. Also, how they have made Jiminy Cricket in this. So he actually is Sebastian. And he gets involved a little bit later in the story. He gets to see Geppetto, how he is really just kind of mourning the loss of his son named Carlo. And I find it really funny when Pinocchio really comes alive, because just how Geppetto is, he's kind of a really stubborn old man. He has that personality of, well, you're not my son. I don't want you, Pinocchio. And I just love like how he just portrays the character. And Pinocchio, I love that he kind of fights back with how Geppetto actually treats him. But I really did enjoy the journey between the two as the two actually go on. And they are doing this journey and really figuring out, what they're doing in life. You get to learn a lot about how life really is. And when I say that, Pinocchio in this film, it's a little bit different on how he is actually represented. So the blue fairy in this, she is called a wood sprite, and it is played by Tilda Swinton. So she is kind of a really dark character. What's really kind of odd is even though she talks, her mouth doesn't move, which was kind of strange, but she is really dark in this, and she tries to teach Pinocchio different lessons throughout this film. But it's a little bit different because it's kind of like he has a lot of different lives in this, which I thought was really unique to the story. It really makes it feel, that he is kind of wooden, and, even though he is kind of wooden, he isn't really a real life character, just as Geppetto and everybody else. So Pinocchio really learns a lot of life lessons as he's going through the actual film. And, they still have certain things in here, like having the whale actually swallow Geppetto. But in this story, it is a dogfish. When they're out on this water, it really did make me take in the stop animation. And you could just see that this really felt like a painting. It just, the way they did the stop animation, it just looks really neat. I also have to give props to the soundtrack. The soundtrack is one of my favorite soundtracks. My Son is probably my favorite song on the whole album. And I have to say, I would be lying to you guys if I didn't get a little bit teary-eyed during that song, because it's just a really beautiful song. And me having a son myself, I would love to sing a song like that to him. And I thought that the song, it was just really kind of soft, a really touching song. It's a really loving kind of song. And even the songs that Pinocchio has in this film, I really did enjoy it. There is a lot of dark moments in this film, so I will say that if you have some smaller children, I would say about 10 and under, this is a little bit of a darker film. It's not like your normal Pinocchio. And there are parts in this film where people die, and it's a little bit dark for children to really take in. And I was just really surprised that they went that route, but I actually really did enjoy it. I also enjoyed Count Volpe, played by Christoph Waltz. He did a really good job in his role. I really actually felt like he was a villain. I also enjoyed the comedy in this film. I found that Pinocchio was really funny. I really loved that he was really obsessed with hot chocolate. There is one point in this film where he actually burns his leg and he goes, "Look, Geppetto, I'm burning my legs just like hot chocolate." And then also when he lies and his nose is growing, he makes up some really funny lies. And I also did like watching him and Geppetto actually grow as a unit in this film. I thought they did a really good job of establishing them having a lot of different obstacles to really go through as a unit and as a family. The film really focuses on discipline, loss, love, different burdens that you can come across. And I think they did a really good job of hitting the message in this film. And it's a little bit different from the original, but I really did like the darker tones that Guillermo Del Toro actually threw in this film. And I really don't have any flaws with this film. I don't even think that it's really that long for the runtime. It is 2 hours, but I never really felt the runtime. I had a really good time with this film, and actually after watching it twice, I can say that I really loved it even more the second time. The whole stop animation is really what makes the film really gorgeous, and I love the different colors that he uses in this film, whether it be kind of brighter, whether it be darker, and I love the tones that he used. As far as a score for this film, I would give it a 5 out of 5. I watched this film twice, and I really did enjoy this film. It's an excellent film. You guys have got to watch this film. I hope it comes to 4K on an actual disc because I would love to buy this film. But thank you guys for watching this review. Let me know down in the comments, did you like this film? Did you hate it? Was it just not for you? I would love to know your guys' thoughts. And let me know down in the comments, what other remakes have you seen of Pinocchio? Is there ones that are better than this? Do you think this is one of the better ones? Let me know as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next review.